My name's Amata, and in this Red Game Tech video we are in much calmer waters as we have a lovely combination video about the Xbox One X and yet more news on Raja Koduri. So let's begin things with the Xbox One X. Of course, the console finally released after a very long run-up, of course, after it was revealed at E3 properly this year, and obviously actually last year when we first heard of it. And now we have a little glimpse into the sales of the console and exactly how well it's doing so far. And so far, it's looking pretty good. As we have an article here on gamesindustry.biz, which shows that the first week of sales for the Xbox One X is over 80,000 units in the UK. Now, to put this in a little bit of perspective, to paint the picture of actually how good this actually is, do keep in mind this is only UK data for the moment. This particular console has now sold as many units in the first week as a Nintendo Switch. Now obviously that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go on the tear that the Nintendo Switch has done, but it's definitely a good sign that it's opened so strongly, because obviously the X has quite a few games that have been improved, but not a new game to be like, yeah, you can... This is amazing. Like, we got Assassin's Creed Origins and obviously all of that sort of stuff, but there's not an exclusive, I guess, is what I'm saying. But despite that, we have quite the promising start. And what's also quite promising, and obviously what's probably definitely pleasing Microsoft, is that they are also well ahead of the PS4 Pro sales, which sold just over 50,000 units back when it released in November of 2016. And it actually took the Pro 4 weeks to reach the 80,000 unit target that the X has already reached in its first week. Now obviously the Pro did have shortage issues when it first released, as did the Switch, as you all know. So do keep that in mind. That is definitely something that is skewing these results somewhat, because you could argue that they would have sold more if they didn't have these availability issues. However, it is still a really promising start for the Xbox One X. Of course, it's way too early to start calling whether the X is going to beat the Pro overall, or if this is going to lead to a victory for Microsoft overall over Sony after Sony curb stomping them for, 3 years. Way too early, but this is definitely a promising start for the console. So let's move swiftly on to Raja Koduri, shall we? Now, as you undoubtedly heard, he has left AMD to join Intel, which has been quite the huge bomb, following pretty swiftly on the heels of the rather interesting partnership between AMD and Intel to make a discrete graphics chip. So, as you probably know, Koduri is now going to be a head of a brand new division within Intel, the Core and Visual Computing Group. And Koduri, as Intel said in their official statement, will, quote, be leading position, integrated graphics, and basically everyone kind of assumed, and kind of understandably so, that he's going to be, kind of heading the discrete graphics solution section of what Intel's doing, especially with their new partnership with AMD. However, according to sources from Fudzilla, and they're, quote, well-informed industry sources, to quote Fudzilla there, according to these sources, Raja is going to be doing more than discrete graphic solutions. He undoubtedly will be doing that. He obviously has a lot of knowledge and experience to share there. But he's also going to be responsible for the core roadmap, which is pretty huge. Now, it's no secret that Intel has been awfully lazy when it comes to their core roadmap. So, with Raja at the helm of this, as well as the discrete graphics, you can probably give them a boot up the arse, given that, of course, AMD have been on an absolute tear with Ryzen, and of course Epic and Threadripper and all of that stuff. AMD have definitely done some really good work, but they've also capitalized on the fact that Intel's kind of become a bit comfortable in the fact that they've been the dominant force for so long. But this might change with Raja at the helm. And again, according to Fudzilla, he's actually, that being Raja, is going to work with one of the key people behind Cannon Lake to actually solve the issue of it just being constantly delayed. This was originally supposed to come out in 2017, but of course we have not seen any evidence of it releasing anytime soon. So, Raja is going to help accelerate Intel to a transition to 10nm. And to be honest, pretty much everyone has beaten them to the 10nm sort of goalpost at this point. You know, everyone's sort of done the race and gone home, had a celebratory pint, gone home, had a cup of tea in their dinner, and, you know, Intel's still, you know, trying to finish the race because, you know, Apple's ahead of them, Samsung, Qualcomm, Apple. Oh, sorry, I already said Apple, excuse me. A little bit tired, been a long day. But regardless, they have been, you know, very much dragging their feet when it comes to Cannon Lake and 10nm. And Raja is obviously going to give them, as I already said, a bit of a kick up the arse when it comes to that. And we might actually see some progression from Intel in their roadmap and maybe just give them that little bit of a push that they need. You know, it's not just like Raja's come to save the day, but they definitely need someone to kind of direct them with this roadmap. And the fact that he's kind of been put in charge of that definitely shows that they've recognised they have an issue. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what, if any, impact Raja actually has on Intel's roadmap. So with all that said, thank you very much for watching. Your support is highly appreciated. Do remember to like and subscribe, as it does help out a great deal. And I'll see you next time.